On this episode of 8 and 8, I speak to Bongo Jwaqa, whom I believe is a jack of all trades and a master of all. He shares his experience in filmmaking and what he's currently working on. And he also shares a bit about his love for being in front of the camera. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of 8 and 8. I'm your host for today, Mo, and on today's episode we have an emerging filmmaker, Bongo Jwaqa. Hi Bongo.
Hi Matteo.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. A little bit nervous, but I'm doing well.
Is this your first time on a talk show?
It is not, but it is my first time on a professional talk show.
Alrighty. So what Bongo's going to be doing today is try and answer 8 questions in 8 minutes. Your timer starts after I've asked.
Oh, I think the timer starts now. Okay.
No, after I've asked the first question.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I do think I make 2 bold predictions.
Okay.
1, this will be the most viewed 8 and 8.
Okay.
2, Arsenal going to beat Spurs 3-0 at the Emirates Stadium. 1st of October, remember the dates.
You're sounding like a confident man to me. Okay.
What?
The first question is, when did you first fall in love with filmmaking?
I first fell in love with filmmaking. Ooh, it's okay. I think there's so many different answers to this question. First fell in love with filmmaking when around middle of primary school. I remember my mom used to work in East London, and if she was busy or we'd go to Ocean Basket, and then next to Vincent Mall used to have a theater there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she was busy, she'd bring all her work and we'd just sit at Ocean Basket for a very long time. And so I used to just go watch a movie. I'd watch like 3 movies in a row, because she used to work the entire day or something, and she wanted to spend time with me because I'm at hostel. So it's in those times I just consumed a lot of film in like a short space of time. I just became more interested in like the art form.
Who's your inspiration in the industry?
My inspiration in the industry. I have 2.
Mm-hmm.
And these people I don't speak to them often, but anytime I just have a few questions about certain things. I'd definitely say Panchelo Casella is my inspiration because he's a young filmmaker, but like he's got these siblings and he's like, they're all interested in filmmaking and they like got shows on Netflix and stuff. And so it's really nice to see someone, start a production company with their family and push it on. He's a DOP, but like he's just amazing. And second was Chris Q. Khatele because he gave me some really powerful advice and it stuck with me.
What's your 5-year plan?
My 5-year plan, we're 2022 now,
Mm-hmm.
5 years from now, 2027. I'd have to say that because we're in a really rapidly neoliberal landscape, I do think that it's important that I love my passion and I'm really passionate about it, of course. But I do know that my lack of understanding of money and financial acumen, at least, is something that I need to get better at. And so within these 5 years, I'm hoping to have done some form of postgrad in like enterprise management, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have started like a small filmmaking company. Have my own camera, definitely in the 5-year plan. Have my own camera, have my own equipment, and make what I want to make for as long as I can.
Apparently, you have experience in acting, drama.
A little bit, yeah.
And you're also someone who's done a whole lot of behind the scenes stuff. So I wanted to find out from you, what's the difference between the 2 and which one do you love the most?
Okay, so the obvious difference, one is in front of, one is behind the camera.
Sure.
But I can say that theater acting, I would say I so far prefer it more than like acting for camera. It's just theater acting, funnily enough, is a bit easier because there's a feedback, there's an audience to give back to you. As like with the camera, it's your performances here. I haven't done a lot of camera acting in shoots, so I can't pretend like I have a extensive like wealth of knowledge. But in terms of which one I prefer, I really enjoy directing. Really enjoy being behind the camera. I haven't really filmed anything that I haven't been in part of the control of creating in terms of writing it. So I'm yet to do that, which would be a really interesting experience. But I can say the reason I'm really passionate about behind the scenes is because there's so much control. I get to dictate, I guess, how things work, and like everyone else becomes a tool to the really bigger picture. I guess even me included, because the bigger picture is creating something special.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite film. My favorite film is The Lion King, animated one. I love The Lion King so much. I think it's the way it captivates me just from the beginning. I think I've that movie I watched at a very young age, and it kind of set the tone for the type of films I want to make. Like I like a captivating start, and I think Circle of Life, when it starts, it's just the sun rises, and I think that is something that has stuck with me in terms of stuff I like to make.
I wanted to ask you to act out one of the scenes in The Lion King.
Act out one of the scenes in The Lion King.
But it's okay. It's okay. Maybe another day. But what have you learned so far?
Which scene would I act as?
Oh, you consider okay. Should we move the chairs?
We don't have time. According to
We can make time.
fair, 1816. But what was your question?
What have you learned so far?
Extremely vague. What I've learned so far is working with actors and actresses. More specifically, paying attention to them, such that, like, it's so easy to make sure your tripod is standing in the right position, make sure that the angle is right, make sure you're following your storyboard, make sure that people are there on time. And you kind of almost forget that, like, just because you've told them what they should do in the scene, like, it might not be enough. You need to interact with them. When you say cut, they're going to ask, how was that? And you need to give them a response, because then they don't know how it was. So I think being careful with like how you treat everyone, but more importantly, because they're the reason people are watching. So how you treat your actors is extremely important.
So if you had to choose one person in the industry to mentor you, who would you choose?
Kind of already somewhat getting mentored by him, so I would definitely say Chris Q Khatebe, because I do want to improve. I want to get better at writing, and he's a brilliant writer. And Darren Aronofsky is a filmmaker that I've recently started watching his films. I'm quite interested in his method.
What advice, the final question, what advice would you give to someone who wants to go into filmmaking?
Advice I'd give to someone who's going into filmmaking, sound like I'm like old. I also need advice myself, but I will say that advice I'd give someone who's trying to go into filmmaking goes back to the previous answer, man. Like, make sure that you take care of your actors and actresses. I cannot stress that enough. Something as small as what should they wear? They're gonna ask you that, and it's gonna affect the role. It's gonna affect the character. And if you are, again, I'm speaking more in like fictional pieces, not necessarily documentary pieces. But one thing I'm more familiar with is fictional pieces. Make sure your actors are having a good time and they know exactly what they're doing.
Okay, the timer just stopped. We've come to the end of our show. Well done. High five.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Bongo.
Thank you for having me.
It's been lovely.
It's been fun.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.